Hey, good morning. How are you? Welcome to Guanyin Practice. Sending everyone warm wishes and hoping that you all had a good couple of days. Albert and I spent time with family. That was so lovely. And of course, we are still holding for peace in Palestine. We're still holding for the relief of the many who are struggling and suffering with finances and debt and financial difficulty right now. We're holding for everyone for whom this holiday season was a hard one, and sending everybody a lot of loving compassion, hoping that you are settling now into these last few days of the year with a spirit of reflection, introspection, and peace. So we are still, for these next couple days, in the realm of the Dear Mother before we start the new year. I will be here on January 1st at 9 a.m. with Prajnaparamita chanting the Heart Sutra, which I'm excited about. Excuse me. I think it'll be lovely. It's a nice way to start the year. When the Dear Mother ascends the mountain, victorious in her splendor, she brings with her the elixir of the forest, with precious incense, fragrant and sweetly scented. The mountain is purified, the forest is purified, the waters are purified, the animals are purified, the deities are purified, the spirits are purified, the ancestors are purified, our families are purified, our homes are purified, our children are purified, my life force is purified, your life force is purified. Obstacles removed, wounds are healed, good words are spoken. All around us is purified, is purified, is purified. And we are working with the Wild Goddess Oracle by Amy Zerner and Monty Farber. Good morning, Kat. Thanks, Linda. Good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, thank you. I love this reindeer. All right, let's have a listen to what the Wild Goddess Oracle has to say today. These archetypal resonances that give us a little something to think about. And I'm just going to close my eyes and pick one. Love to get one that we haven't gotten already. Let's see. The critic. Constructive criticism, when asked for, is a gift between friends. But perfectionism, overanalysis, and pickiness do more harm than good. Maybe you can see the stern visage of the card. And it's probably a good reminder that here at the end of the year, when we're in this time of reflection about what went right, what went wrong, what went the way we wanted it to, what went a different way, this year, we might kind of activate that inner critic and then not take stock of all the good. So let's have a look. The critic rises from an obscuring mist that keeps others from criticizing her appearance. Her haughty gaze is turned away from the skilled hand of a person who has won a blue ribbon prize for excellence, something the critic has yet to do. The critic will strike out mercilessly if anything threatens her, and often her severest criticism is turned upon herself. The appearance of the critic in your reading is a reminder that analyzing a situation can make things better. Constructive criticism, when asked for, is a gift between friends. But perfectionism and pickiness do more harm than good. Criticism must be used for constructive purposes and not as a smokescreen for hurtful words and deeds. Often, destructive criticism is a misguided attempt by its author to deflect criticism onto another. When you encounter the critic in yourself and others, thinking and communications must be clarified and simplified to avoid misunderstandings. When we take in and absorb negative critical energy, it can influence how we think and feel about ourselves and how we respond to our families, friends, and coworkers. Think about some past moments in your life when you listened to your inner critic instead of your inner wisdom. Your inner critic usually appears when you're scared or in pain. Her voice isn't always nice to you. Now clear the energy, being careful to only own, and talks about if you want to burn some incense or some sage or some herbs, but clear the energy in whatever way. And think about the phrase, I am doing the right thing. Notice how your body responds. Allow yourself to see all the ways that this is true. As you do this, you can attune your inner wisdom and its signals, turning your inner critic into a friend who helps you make healthy choices that work for you. You will be rewarded for the patience required to make this shift. Interesting guidance. I think there's a place here for us to really look into how I really liked what she said about how the critic will often deflect, that the reason that the critic is so critical, whether that's your inner critic criticizing you or whether that's your activated critic self criticizing something in the world, it's often the one who's criticizing the one doing. And that's not always true. Sometimes there is really effective, positive, helpful criticism that can be leveraged. If you can say, look, this is something that would make it better. That's the ideal. This is something that would make it better. I would love to, be better. I'd love to know more. I'd love for this to go more smoothly. I'd like for our relationship to be more strong. All of those things may involve criticism to say, this is a thing that I have a hard time with. This is a thing that I just feel isn't working for me. But when it's criticizing without following up with action of your own for positive change, then it's not super constructive. And that's the same when we get very critical of ourselves. We will put that criticism on ourselves instead of just doing the work to improve. We could just improve. If you know there's something about yourself you don't like, if you know that you could do better, put the energy, instead of putting the energy toward that self-condemnation, which is kind of like a wallowing. It's almost like just as controversial take here, but it's just as bad to wallow in self-criticism as it is to think of yourself as superior. So if you think of yourself as horrible, no good, da 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 da, that's actually engaging, it's activating the ego just as much as if you were saying, I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it touches the same mechanism. And that's the mechanism that we don't want to activate. The mechanism we don't want to activate is the over identification with an idea of ourselves as all bad or all good. Instead, being able to go, here's my part, here's what I feel like I could do better on. Here are the things that others have said that I'm taking in. Here are the things that others have said that I'm not taking in. This just how I want to be. That's all of it is okay. We can have all of that. We have to just learn not to go overboard and not to activate so much the critical nature of ourselves that we're unable to be appeased. Yeah, and Leslie is saying here, yes, the wallowing in criticism. Eek. Yeah, I know, uncomfortable, right? But nobody we don't love it. We don't love it. So today, when we feel our critic acting up, stirring up, oh, why is she doing that? Oh, why are they doing that? Oh, what's going on over there? Or, oh, I'm so horrible. I did this. I made this mistake. I could have done that better. And I feel like I ruined it. Blah, blah, blah. Let it go. Just say, you know what? It's a new day. We're going to try again fresh. We're going to try today. All we have is today. So let's try. And and make the antidote to the critic being in the now with what you have power to do, whatever it is. Could be that you have the power in the now to say, well, you know what? Let me just double down on that one thing. Let me get a little better at it. Let me hone that skill. Or maybe you just look at that and you go, well, yeah, not my circus, not my monkeys. I don't have to I don't have to have an opinion about that. There's so much, especially being I mean, I'm French. The French are notoriously worldwide known for being super critical. And I was definitely raised by a French mother and grandmother. And that little critical thing is definitely, it's like, well, what are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Like, why did, very present, very active. So I've had to learn to kind of go, yeah, you know, I don't, my dog's not in that fight. I don't need to be part of that. And just to sort of back off from it because it's so seductive. Criticizing is so seductive. So let's today give ourselves the antidote. No day but today, says Leslie. That's right. And and that's where we have our power in the now. So now let's dive into Guanyin practice. We're going to start with 3 prostrations before the shrine. We're going to quiet the inner critic, and we're going to say, I'm going to take this moment right now to quiet my inner critic who's like, well, how do you call it daily devotions when in the past 2 months you've hardly been here? Da, 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 da. I'm here today. Let's be here today. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention for peace on earth and for an end to the harm caused by judgment. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balanced point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. We'll make our offerings. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guan Xiyin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. And now 108 recitations of Namo Guanxi Pusa, calling forth that compassionate nature from within ourselves that doesn't really feel the need to be super critical, that instead kind of has more of a live and let live tendency. Namo Guanxi Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Pusa. Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa, Namo Guanxi Yin Pusa. And the prayer written for the Mani reciter of Kam by Gyaltse Tokme Zangpo. Lama Dankun Shiksum Lak Chaksalo, Dakni Changchuk Nimpur Chike Bar Gangdang Gangdu Kepa de Dangder. Tadu Tuje Champo Chatsin Shing, Gusum Gewe Chila Chipar Sho, Chamdang Ningje Champo Kunlang Ne. Tuje Champo Juljar Girpanam, Lame Changchuk Chala Gope Chir, Tuje Champo Trinle Par Sho. Homage to the Guru in three jewels. From now until I reach the essence of awakening, no matter where I may be reborn in that place, may I always follow the great compassionate one and dedicate my body, speech, and mind to virtue, inspired by loving kindness and great compassion in order to lead all Mahakarunika's followers to supreme and unsurpassable awakening. May I carry out the great compassionate one's activity. Lama Dankun Shuksumlak Chaksalo, Dakni Changchupni Por Chike Bar, Gangdang Gangdu Kepa Dedang Der, Tadu Tuje Champo Chetsin Ching, Gusum Gewe Chila Chipar Sho, Jamdang Ningje Champo Kunlang Ne, Tuje Champo Duljar Girpa Nam, Lame Changchup Chala Gope Chir, Tuje Champo Trinle Par Sho. And now 108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum, sending out our recitations and the energy of these recitations to all who need it today, especially those who are suffering in unimaginable circumstances of war. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungne and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss Yeshe Wangmo be utterly stable, and may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guanyin in our hearts. Namo Guanxin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guanyin, bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wishing everyone a peaceful, blessed day. And we'll be back tomorrow.